of August is the National Repentance and Prayer Day, and there's big events going around in Port Moresby. The St. John Gay Stadium is packed with Christians. And turned out early around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, non-stop, all-night prayer till daybreak, and the minister's fraternity and those who are taking care of the spiritual welfare of this country are taking the lead in leading the nation into prayer. The Prime Ministers attended, the Chief of Staff, the Secretaries, departmental heads, intellectuals and different people attended the Prayer and Repentance Day, and it's happening in Lane, all around the centers, from the island region to Momase, New Guinea Islands to the southern region. People are gathered into auditoriums, people are gathered into churches, people are gathered in stadiums, people are gathered in big hovels and big buildings, and because today is the National Repentance and Prayer Day, and people are confessing their sins, forgiving one another, those who have criticized them, and those who have done a lot of wrong to them. People are now in the process of forgiving each other and repenting, and all these things happening around the country. And the Western Pacific University, you are not wrong to have this moment for the TSCF fellowship and also in the sacrament on a very important day of this country, which is the National Repentance and Prayer Day. And I'm going to say something very important in line with this season, with this moment that is happening around the country, so that we can know what prayer is all about, what repentance is all about, so that you can know and you can understand what is happening in this country, in spite of the financial situations that we are having, in spite of the cost of living that is going very high. I was really scared and my eyes opened wide when a one-way flight from Port Moresby to Albion, or Albion to Port Moresby was on 1,300. Yes, we are suffering in our own country, and we are really exhausted by all these things happening, and there's instability in the government, social problems and ethnic clashes, and a lot of things are happening. The very fabrics of our society is breaking down. Evil is devouring every system, but at the same time, in spite of all this, we still come to find our place at the foot of the cross and say sorry to God of all our wrongdoings, praying to God to forgive us of all our wrongdoings. And this morning, you know, a lot of people are pointing fingers to Malabé government. People are pointing fingers to the government of the day because of a lot of things are not right. Many things are falling apart. People are struggling. Education systems are not working well. And we are running out of medical supplies in hospitals. Our road systems are not okay. A lot of things are happening. And yes, these things are happening. But I want to tell you this morning that God is still on the throne. God is still on the throne, meaning that whatever happens under the sun, whether it be earthquake, whether it be tsunami, whether it be pestilence, whether it be a famine, whether it be trouble fight, whatever that is happening under the sun doesn't change the matter of the fact that God is still on the throne. God is still on the throne. God is still on the throne. And this nation is a prototype. This nation is blessed. This nation sometimes it is said that it is floating on the ocean of crude oil, powered by gas and built by God. This nation is a prototype. It's a kingdom nation with 860 languages and still discovering plus one, still going. This nation is diversity, rich in culture, in tradition, from the islands region to Momase region, to New Guinea Islands to the southern region. This nation, you cannot find this nation elsewhere around the world. This nation is blessed. One time I was given the opportunity to speak on behalf of the students. I was with the ministry for the last 15 years, and two white men came from Colorado Springs in USA. One was the director, one was the media director. They came, and on behalf of the students, they wanted me to speak and give a speech on behalf of the students. And I told these two guys who came from abroad, and I said, if you are looking for best missionaries around the world, you will never find it anywhere, but PNG, we have the best missionaries around the world. Our body was created in a way that it can function in any climate around the world. Our skin pigment is very strong. We can stay in the heat of the sun. People just thinking, one ideal or one month South Islands, our sun will try the sun of morning 9 o'clock, start our sky over 3 o'clock, sun will give you an ember, go by the umbrella, and not this lotion. You stand, put a white man and a black man like to the sun of our sky or morning now. The white man will start look for lotion and umbrella and cold water, but the black man will still be selling because your body was designed in a way to function in Alaska, your body was designed in a way to function in the Sahara Desert, your body was designed in a way to function in the swamplands. That's why sometimes I call it, you have the international intestine. Your intestine can accommodate snakes and dogs and cats and anything. Wherever you go, they feed you with this liquid and you walk. Your body can sleep. White man will give blocks for stuff about some garden or bunny blocks. Public is one eye will sleep and sleep glass of the wind and the road. Doesn't matter. Our body can function elsewhere. And can sleep under a stone, and can sleep under a rubber cell, and can sleep under a needle, and can still get it. That's why this country is unique. This country is unique. So never ever think that you are in the wrong country. If you think that you are in the wrong country and you want to pray this probably that's the wrong prayer. Some people are praying to come to PNC. When you are praying to leave PNC, some people are praying to come to PNC. You know what I mean? Put there. Because air conditioning is free here. Fresh flowing rivers you are drinking, while some people are telling switch water into cold water. Are you listening to me? They are planting trees in the house to get oxygen. You are getting 110% pure oxygen without any carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide. This is the country that God has blessed. And this nation now is on its knees praying. In spite of what Mubarak did, in spite of what Bidoni did, in spite of what Bill Skate did, in spite of what St. Jurison did, in spite of what Megre Murata did, in spite of what who's the other prime minister? Why should they did? I forgot my own man. In spite of what they did, this nation is on its knees praying. And this is very important now, a very significant moment that we are in. And the books of Romans chapter 3 and verse 23 says that the Apostle Paul wrote this. For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. The word all, the context or the vocabulary that Paul was using, the word all doesn't mean for some has sinned, or for few has sinned, for many has sinned. The word all is like the ring on my finger. Do you find the end on a ring? Can you spot the end of a ring? Can somebody come and find the end of a ring? The ring has no ending. It is a cycle, but we can't come and find the end of a ring. It is a complete cycle. The word whole means that from the Queen of England to the President of the United States of America and to the tip of South America and to Madagascar in Africa, every human being, past, present, and future, we are a fallen race. Don't remember, you got Quran group. Don't remember, don't me. Tell. I will explain the Quran group. Every human being on the face of this earth was not born into this world as saved. All of us were born in sin, born with sin, we lived with sin, we ate with sin, we moved around with sin. That's why the Apostle Paul, when he wrote in the books of Romans chapter 3 and verse 23, he said, for all have sinned, that means generation past, present, and future are under the Adamic curse, the Adamic nature. Adamic nature meaning that when Adam and Eve fell in the garden, when they fell in the garden, they fell from a very highest position to the very lowest degraded position. They fell from this level down to this level, and they stayed there. God created them and placed them in a place of prominence, in a place of value, in a place of identity. Their status in God, their status in God was 110%. That was a place God placed men to be, and at the same time, God gave them the dominion power, the dominion mandate to rule, to take over. God gave that position to men. When God told Adam, he said, have dominion over the birds of the air, God gave men the atmospheric kingdom to rule. And then he said, have dominion over the birds of the air and fish of the sea. God gave men the marine kingdom to rule. And then he said, everything that creepeth upon the face of the earth, the earthly kingdom. See, God has given three big assignments to men. He gave men the atmospheric kingdom. It is not wrong for men to make rockets and land it on the moon, because that's where God gave them. It is not wrong for two of our inventors, the Wright brothers, already Wright and Wilbur Wright, to invent aeroplane in the year 1903, using the technology of aerodynamics to fly against gravity, because God gave them the atmospheric kingdom to rule. There is no limit. Why NASA, National Aeronautic and Space Administration, is sending spaceship into Pluto and into other planets? Why? Because God has given the atmospheric kingdom for men to rule. That was given to Adam. And then God gave the marine kingdom. Birds of the air, fish of the sea. God gave the marine kingdom. It is not wrong for men to make ocean liners. Big ships to load 2,000 to 3,000 containers leaving the works of China to PNG. It is not wrong for men to dive into the sea and do sea mining, deep sea mining. It is not wrong for men to make submarines to move under the sea. It is not wrong for men to make speedboats to cruise over the waves of the ocean. Why? Because God has given the marine kingdom for men to subdue, run it. Why man is building big skyscrapers and technology is increasing and all these things happening? Because God has given three big assignments to Adam: the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, and the earth. Heavenly kingdom, atmospheric kingdom, and the marine kingdom God gave to man. And God placed Adam right here, this place here. Stay here. And there was a certain time when God comes, in the cool of the day, God would come and walk in the garden. And Adam and Eve would be in the very strategic location waiting for God to come. They knew their GPS, global positioning system. They knew that God would come, so they waited. And God came. They had the intimacy, the relationship with God. And something happened. It was a sad day. Men fell through ignorance. Many of us think that the first sin that happened in the Garden of Satan had was pride. The first sin that casted Satan out of heaven was not pride. It was ignorance. Ignorance is sometimes known as the debased mind. Debased mind is the lowest degraded mind. Sometimes you can put it in picture and say, head in Lugatindi. Ignorance is like this. Satan was trying to fight with God. He knew that the battle he was fighting was a losing battle. How comes you know that you are going to lose the battle and you want to fight again? No one has ever defeated God. And the late Dr. Miles Monroe got up and said, if Angel Michael wanted to fight with God in heaven, well, he looked after the host of the army of heaven. He would have the right to do it, because he was the host of the military in heaven. Lucifer tried to battle God with his music notes. He was not a military leader. God casted him out of heaven. That was ignorance. And then when he was casted out of heaven, now God established hell and put Adam and Eve in there. And Adam and Eve, they were in the place of prominence, they were in the place of value, they knew their identity in God, even they were naked, but they were clothed with the garment of righteousness. That was the position God placed them. I want to make you understand the importance of the word repentance. Today is Repentance Day. Alright? So God placed them here. And one day God came and found out that they were not there. And in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 9, when a question is asked, it demands a what? Talk to me. When someone asks you a question, it demands an answer. Somebody must respond. Positively, you must give an answer for that question. So God came in Genesis chapter 3 and verse 9 in the cool of the day. Normally it comes in a fellowship, the intimacy between God and Adam and Eve. God came and so that position that God has placed them, they were not there. Now the question God asked, can I lift the microphone? You can hear me? Or the microphone is okay. You stand on the back. You can hear me. Right in the back. Is that clear? Good. I don't know to take it closer to my lips because it's going to disturb your hearing. So I'm down here. All right. When God came and found out that they were not in the place where they're supposed to be. And the question that God asked, sometimes you might be thinking, God asked this question. Adam, where are you? When God asked Adam, where are you? What do you think and what do you have in mind? Did God did not know that they were hiding behind the fig tree? God is omnipotent, means God is all powerful. God is omniscient, means God is all knowing. God is transcendent, means it's beyond whatever we think about. God is omnipresent, means God fills the vast and the expanse of the universe at once. The whole entire universe, how the breadth and the length of the universe, I cannot tell you, even an astronaut does not know. God fills it at once. That's the power of the omnipresent. In the book of Job chapter 1, there was a meeting in heaven, and Satan popped up in the midst of the angels. God saw all the angels, and in the midst of all the angels, this guy was standing too. Hey, what are you doing here? And this is what the devil said. We go under, we come down, we go in, we go out, we go round, we come. That's the language of a man who is not omnipresent. Are you listening to me? Satan is not a omnipresent being. If he's in, I don't want to say PNT, if he's in China, he's missing PNT. If Satan now is in China, he's not in PNT. You are in here? One minute to be clear. If he's in China, he's not in PNT. If the devil is in Africa, he's not in America. Because Satan is an angelic being created by God, and he's not an omnipresent being. Omnipresent means God filled the vast of the universe at once. So when God said, hey, where are you? God already knew where Adam was hiding. Some Christians think that, I'm hiding from God. So once they get on a plane and they go to Australia, they start to drink and party out. And when they come back to the church, and they come with a long tie hanging down their belly buttons, and they stand in front of the church with a long sleeve and sing praises to God, not knowing that what we did in Australia, we did it in front of God's big eyeballs. He's omnipresent. You cannot hide from God if you are taking a plane and flying up there, some thousands of miles in the air. You cannot hide from God if you take a submarine and go into the belly of the ocean. God is omnipresent. No one can hide No brick walls can hide a man from God. No darkness is too dark to hide someone from God. God is only present. So when God said, "Hallelujah, you," God already knew they were behind the victory. But the question is this: God was not asking a geographical question. God was asking Adam an ecological question. Ecological means relationship and intimacy broke down. Are you with me? It was not a geographical question. God was asking, where are you? God already knew that they were behind the victory. The question God was asking, I put you up here, the place of value, the place of prominence, the place of identity, the place that you can stay here, I can come and live in a fellowship here. But you fell. That's why Apostle Paul said, for all have sinned and fall short. When Adam and Eve fell, we fell short of the glory of God. And that's why we have a punang in our system. Every time you want to gossip about someone, that's the result of a punang. Every time you feel that lust wants to creep into your blood, that's the result of a punang. Every time you feel that pornography wants to come knock on your doors and your mobile phone, that's the result of a punang. Every time you feel that adultery wants to come and knock on your doors, that's the result of a punang. These, when they fell from this and came down to this, they fell miserably, they fell. And that's where they introduced a blood code of punang. That's why God must have a rescue plan. God must have a rescue plan. And a rescue plan for men to come back. And God must reinstate men back to its position. God must have a rescue plan. And the rescue plan is, if you read in the Bible in Genesis 3, in the fall of man, there was an innocent animal. This animal did not have a history of break and enter. This animal did not kill a human being. This animal was an innocent animal. God prophetically had something that is going to happen from 2000 years back. On the cross of Calvary, on the mountain called the skull of Golgotha, God is going to sacrifice his own son and take away the sins of humanity. So God must have now a plan to bring back everybody that was fallen down and fall short of the glory of God under the category of the punang, and bring them back and reinstate them back to this place. When Adam and Eve fell, humanity fell with them. Because I don't care whether they are from China, I don't care whether you are from Russia, I don't care whether you are from Yugoslavia or Mozambique. I don't care whether you're from India or whether you're from Pakistan or wherever around the world. We all came through Adam and Eve. And when Adam and Eve fell, the whole humanity was poisoned. The whole humanity was under the curse of sin. The whole humanity was separated from the fellowship of intimacy with God. The whole humanity fell under the category of the punang. That's why when they fell, they tried to find their own way back to God. They tried their best to build a Babel tower and tried to compare with God. And how dare God confuse the language? There was an eagle up there speaking to a hen. The hen cannot understand the Yalaku. And the Yalaku cannot understand the Morobe. And the Morobe cannot understand the Tolai. Confused of language happened and everybody is scattered all over the world. Men try to find their own ways back to God. They start to bring their hand into demonic activities and ancestral beliefs of demonic rituals. They started to build up statues. They started to believe in the sun. They started to believe in the moon. They started to believe in the biggest snake in their forest. They started to whisper to the spirits of their dead ancestors. They were trying to look for a way back to God because two of our ancestors in the garden break that very code that God has raised them. They came down here. So men were struggling and trying to find their way back to this place that God has raised them. The disciples tried to, the prophets tried to get them back. They beheaded the prophets. They crucified the prophets. Men that Jeremiah was kicked into water, was kicked into hand-eating, man-eating hands. And they were persecuted when they tried to tell them about God. And it came until a time when God must send his own son. And how men can get back into God? God had a plan the tree but kill the innocent animal. And that's how prophetically God has to sacrifice his own son. Can you tell me Jesus has a history of a break and enter of a bank in Jerusalem? Jerusalem Central Bank? Did Jesus go and steal a bag of wheat in someone's house? Hello? Did Jesus have a history of going into nightclubs? He sat with tax collectors and prostitutes at the table eating, and the Pharisees complained about the Son of God, his Son of Man is eating with sinners. But Jesus did not have a history of all these things. He was innocent, just like the innocent lamb that was dead in the Garden of Eden. God sent his own son. God had another plan. When men exceeded God's presence and came out, God must have another plan to bring men back to himself. And that plan was made available at the foot of the cross. At the foot of the cross. That's why there is no other way men can get back and find their identity in God. You see, most of the time, the devil does not want you to know. I'll finish around 11:45. Is that okay? The devil does not want men to know what they carry. The devil does not want men to know what value they have. That's why the devil is confusing, is blinding, and